everyone, welcome to EPTOM IAS Academy. Today we will be discussing current affairs for 1st July 2025. Let's look into the topics. So the first topic here is India to launch 52 surveillance satellites after Operation Sindoor. And the second topic is India's National Cooperative Policy 2025 to 2045. And the third topic here is the global menace of bad cancer drugs. So let's look into the first topic. So India fast tracks 52 satellites of precision surveillance following Operation Sindoor. After Operation Sindoor, India has realized the importance of surveillance satellites and it is now ready to develop 52 satellites. So let us see why surveillance satellites are important. So in modern warfare, real-time intelligence, precision surveillance satellites are very important. Also, from Operation Sindoor, we have realized the need for enhanced satellite surveillance, and now the Union government has fast-tracked the launch of 52 dedicated satellites for continuous monitoring of land and maritime borders. So the government has planned to develop 52 satellites which will be dedicatedly monitoring the land borders and maritime borders. So what was Operation Sindoor? It was a recent military engagement where the satellite surveillance proved very critical. Because of satellite surveillance, we were able to track enemy drone and missile movements. We were able to confirm the impact of military strikes and also monitor real-time mobilization of the forces. So during Operation Sindoor, the satellite surveillance proved very important for us, because of which we were able to track the enemy movements. The satellites like Cartosat and RISAT were used during Operation Sindoor. Now what's the purpose of developing and launching 52 surveillance satellites? It is for 24/7 monitoring of India's land borders with Pakistan and China. So these are the land borders with Pakistan and China, and coastline and Indian Ocean region. So it will be used for monitoring the Indian coastline and this Indian Ocean region along with the borders with Pakistan and China. So this will also strengthen India's military and strategic capabilities in the region. Now what is this SBS program? It is space-based surveillance program, and it was approved in the month of October 2024 by the Cabinet Committee on Security, which was led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So the budget allocated for this program is approximately 26,000 crore rupees, and the timeline of this program is from 2026 to 2036. So the development and launch of these 52 satellites is part of this SBS-3 program, which is space-based surveillance. Now who will be building these satellites? So ISRO will manufacture first 21 satellites. Private space companies will build the remaining 31 satellites, and this is a public-private partnership model. This model has been taken up for fast-tracking the development of these 52 satellites. So in this, what will be the role of Defence Space Agency? So the Defence Space Agency will be operating these 52 satellites, okay, will operate and manage the entire satellite network. So Defence Space Agency will be operating and manage the entire satellite system. So DSA is India's nodal body for space warfare. It is a nodal body for space warfare. It was formed in the year 2019. So the Defence Space Agency coordinates with ISRO, DRDO and Defence Forces. So this Defence Space Agency will see that these space-based assets, that is the satellites, surveillance satellites, will be assisting directly the military operations. So these 52 satellites will be AI-enabled satellites. So the new satellites that will be developed will be AI equipped. So they will be equipped with artificial intelligence and machine learning. So let us see how this artificial intelligence equipped satellite surveillance will help us. It will help us in identifying suspicious patterns. So it will automate target recognition and also threat analysis. It will also reduce dependency on the ground operators. Hence, this adds a layer of predictive intelligence to space surveillance. So we will be able to predict better using this artificial intelligence equipped satellite surveillance. So the focus area of these satellites will be the border areas with Pakistan and China, okay, and also the coastline borders, maritime borders, and the Indian Ocean region. So northern borders, that is with China, western borders, that is with Pakistan. So using these satellites, we will be able to watch the Chinese naval activity, maritime piracy, illegal fishing, smuggling, and undersea threats. Now let's look into the national security benefits of these satellites. So it will provide real-time alert system. It will enhance maritime domain awareness. It will also minimize the surprise attacks from drones or missiles. It will also improve the targeting and damage assessment, and it will also boost coordination between air, land and sea forces, that is Army, Navy and Air Force. So what might be the key challenges while developing these surveillance satellites? So let's look into the challenges while developing these 52 surveillance satellites. So there is a need for faster satellite building and launch schedules, and also there is a need for greater budgetary support. Skilled workforce in satellite command and control are also needed. Also the cyber security threats to these satellites networks has to be addressed. So the launch of these 52 satellites will mark a historic expansion in India's space defense architecture. And also after Operation Sindoor, we have realized how important satellite surveillance is in modern warfare. As artificial intelligence and machine learning are being equipped in these new surveillance satellites, we can say that India is progressing its space surveillance capabilities. So that's the end of this topic. Let's move into the next topic. India's National Cooperative Policy 2025 to 45. So states must announce cooperative policy by January 31st next year, this is said by Union Minister Amit Shah. So what's there in the news? Let us look into that. The government is planning to launch a national cooperatives policies. That's the reason why the Union Home Minister has urged all the states to release their state level cooperative policies, so that these policies could align the national cooperatives policy could align with the state level cooperative policy. So the national cooperative policy will be effective from 2025 to 2045. So this is a period of 20 years. So the focus of this policy would be empowering rural India, increasing employment and driving economic growth through cooperative model. Now we will also try to understand what is a cooperative. So let's see what is a cooperative sector. So a cooperative is an autonomous association of people united voluntarily to meet common economic, social and cultural needs through a jointly owned and democratically controlled enterprise. So a group of people with common goals come together voluntarily to form an association, and this association is owned jointly by everyone and it is controlled democratically. Now this association is called a cooperative enterprise. So what are the examples? The Primary Agriculture Credit Society, dairy cooperatives like the Amul cooperative. Amul is also a cooperative sector. Housing societies, fisheries and textile cooperatives. So what's the goal? The goal is to empower farmers, artisans and small entrepreneurs by pooling the resources and sharing the profits. So what is this National Cooperatives Policy 2025 to 2045? It's a 20-year roadmap for developing India's cooperative sector, and it will include a model National Cooperative Policy Act. So a framework for states to align their policies with the national objectives, and also mechanisms to promote discipline, innovation and transparency in cooperatives. So when we look into the state specific cooperative policy, the state must formulate its own policies based on the local economic conditions, its cooperative history, its rural needs and resources. And the deadline given is 31st January 2026, as we have already seen. And also the purpose is to allow states to set region specific goals under the national policy umbrella. So why this Model National Cooperatives Policy Act is important? It will ensure cooperative governance. Also, it will promote professionalism in cooperative management. It will also ensure transparency in elections, accounts and functioning. Also, it will lead to dispute resolution mechanisms and regulatory reforms. So, under this policy, the government is also planning to expand the primary agriculture credit societies. Okay, so it is aiming to create 2 lakh new primary agriculture credit societies by February 2026. So why do you think the government is planning to expand primary agriculture credit societies? It is because they provide credit to farmers, act as the first point of contact for rural finance. It also function as input suppliers, procurement agents and also service providers. So the expansion is going to improve rural credit delivery, generate rural employment and also strengthen the agricultural value chain in rural India. So Manthan Baitak, which was a brainstorming session, was chaired by Amit Shah with all the state ministers of cooperation. So the discussions that were held in this session were about the role of cooperatives in economic development, the ways to generate employment in rural India and implementation of the cooperative model across the sectors. Now let's look into the role of cooperative societies in Indian economy. So India has a population of 140 crore. So creating employment is always a challenging part. Now these cooperatives offer a third economic model apart from the public and private sectors. These enterprises are inclusive, sustainable and community driven. And these cooperative societies are inclusive, sustainable and also community driven. So they can boost the gross domestic product and gross state domestic product. They can generate self-employment and also local entrepreneurship. So under this policy, creating a national cooperative database is a key reform that will be introduced. So the objectives of creating a national cooperative database are that it will map all cooperative societies across the country. So it will identify functional and non-functional cooperatives. It will also enable data-driven policy making and also it will improve resource allocation and tracking. Now the challenges in implementing this national cooperatives policies is that there is a lack of digital infrastructure and trained personnel in the rural areas. Also the issues of political interference, mismanagement, corruption and resistance to reform and transparency just because of corruption are the key issues over here. And there is a need for capacity building, training modules, policy coordination between the center and states. Now this national cooperatives policy will focus mainly on bottom-up approach, bottom-up model of economic development. It will empower rural communities. It will also encourage local resources and local participation. The success of cooperative sectors will help the country in achieving equity, development and sustainability. So that's the end of the second topic. Now let's move into the third topic. So the third topic is about the bad cancer drugs which reach the patients which can harm their lives. Let us look into this topic. So the context is an investigation was conducted by the Bureau of Investigative Journalism which revealed that unsafe and contaminated drugs are being exported to over 100 countries. These are cancer drugs which are being exported to over 100 countries and these are unsafe. So substandard and contaminated cancer drugs are being exported to over 100 countries. So these drugs failed to maintain their quality. So this poses a critical threat to patients' safety. So let's look at the journey of a cancer drug. Journey means from production to export. So a cancer drugs involves raw material sourcing, manufacturing and packaging, shipping and distribution, and then finally it reaches the patient. So every step demands tight quality control because even minor lapses like temperature variation or improper handling can be dangerous, can cost the human lives. So what are the risks involved in drug manufacturing? So contamination is the biggest threat in cancer drug production, and manufacturers are responsible for ensuring sterility and hygiene at all stages. Also, the key risk factors that include are poor disinfection protocols, or air movement, or inadequate cleaning of the equipment, or impure water or raw materials. If the water or raw materials used are impure, this can also contaminate the drug. These can turn life-saving drugs into lethal substances, that is death-causing substances. So how developed nations ensure the safety? Let us take the example of United Kingdom. So 80% of its national health service prescriptions are generic, while approximately 66% are imported. So they ensure the safety through double testing, 20 plus quality parameters are checked for each batch, and also specialized experts verify these batches. And regular audits are also conducted by MHRA, that is Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory. And such systems are really costly, they are of high standards, and it is difficult to reflect these in poor countries. So such systems are of high standards, it is very costly, and it is very difficult for such systems to be adopted in poorer countries. So as I said, such high standard safety measures are difficult to adopt in low and middle income countries. Now let's look into the example of some low income countries. Like for example, let us take Nepal, which lacks drug testing labs itself, qualified regulators and quality inspectors. So it lacks experts as well, supply chain tracking systems. Also the problems are increased by corruption, porous borders, fake counterfeit drugs. So these are some of the issues because of which unsafe drugs enter into the healthcare systems. Now let's see some examples where these unsafe drugs really cost lives. Now in Saudi Arabia in the year 2019, 5 children developed high fevers after Indian made cancer medicines were given, and 1 died. In Colombia in the year 2019 itself, 4 children died, over 100 fell ill after taking a substandard cancer drug. And in Yemen in the year 2022, 10 children died due to bacteria contaminated methotrexate. In Brazil in the year 2023, Bureau found multiple poor quality childhood cancer drug brands. So these are some real examples where in Saudi Arabia 1 died, Colombia 4 children died because of these unsafe drugs. Now what's the role of World Health Organization in controlling these unsafe drugs? So it has developed several mechanisms, that is rapid alert system, where it alerts all the countries once a harm has happened. So global benchmarking tool, it rates countries, each country's drug regulation system from in the scale of 1 to 4. So 70% of the countries are rated level 1 or 2, that is their low readiness. Now essential medicines list, which helps countries prioritize safe drugs, the pre-qualification programs, lists of WHO approved drugs, labs and ingredients, good manufacturing practices, basically it's a global quality control certification, certificate of pharmaceutical products, COPP, a passport, it is a passport showing safe manufacturing of drugs. Why the WHO standards are not enough? It is because these standards are not preventive. They are not preventive. Countries with low regulatory can't act fast enough. Also, limited oversight makes WHO tools less effective in practice. Also, the limited oversight makes these tools less effective practically. And also, without the UK level infrastructure that we have seen previously, fake or dangerous drugs will still reach the patients. So we have seen that how these substandard and contaminated cancer drugs are being exported to over 100 countries, how low and middle income countries lack proper infrastructure to do this quality check, and we have seen UK model to ensure the quality of these drugs. So cancer patients deserve safe and effective medicines regardless of geography. Also, these bad drugs are a global health crisis. To solve this, we need global collaboration, strong regulation and zero tolerance for substandard and contaminated drugs. So that's the end of this topic. So if you have any doubts, please mention in the comment section below, and for more such current affairs analysis, subscribe to Eptome IAS. Thank you for watching.